Good morning, everyone. The hearing will come to order. I'm delighted to see you all here, and I welcome the witnesses. I thank them for coming. I welcome my ranking member, the distinguished senator from Iowa. I welcome Senators Klobuchar and Blumenthal from Minnesota and Connecticut. I have one procedural announcement, which is that we evidently have a vote scheduled at 10:45, and so towards the end of that vote, I plan to, and Senator Hirono from Hawaii, nice to see you. I plan to adjourn the hearing or recess the hearing briefly to allow us to go over and catch the end of one vote, the beginning of the next, and then reconvene. That will probably take about 15 minutes total, so just so you all know. On June 18th, 1989, Carmen Cruz was watching television with her 8-year-old son Travis when her ex-boyfriend, Frederick Escobar, broke into her apartment and calmly walked toward her carrying a pillow. When he was just a few feet away from Mrs. Cruz, Mr. Escobar pulled a gun from the pillow, pointed it at her, and pulled the trigger. Travis watched as his mother collapsed, felled by a bullet shot by his own father. Ms. Cruz spent hours in surgery while doctors removed the bullet from her abdomen. She was hospitalized for 3 weeks and wore a colostomy bag for almost 2 years following the shooting. Today, Ms. Cruz is a passionate advocate in Rhode Island's domestic violence community, but her scars serve as a constant reminder that as a survivor, she is one of the lucky ones. American women are 11 times more likely to be killed with guns than women in any other industrialized country. As this chart shows, the red line, which you may not be able to see, stands far beyond any other industrialized country. Put another way, women in the United States account for 84% of all female firearm victims in the developed world. Let me repeat that. Women in the United States account for 84% of all female firearm victims in the developed world. Of all the women murdered in this country, more than half are killed by family members or intimate partners. In fact, when a gun is present in a domestic violence situation, it increases the risk of homicide for women by 500%. Protecting women from gun violence by domestic abusers should not be and has not been a partisan issue. In the late 1990s, Congress passed important laws prohibiting the possession or purchase of firearms by individuals convicted of misdemeanor domestic violence or subject to domestic violence protective orders. These laws, which were part of the Violence Against Women Act, and an amendment authored by the late Senator Frank Lautenberg, complemented the prohibitions on convicted felons and passed Congress with broad bipartisan support. These laws have saved lives. In states with rigorous background check laws, 38% fewer women are shot to death by intimate partners. But they are not enough. Current law prohibits domestic abusers from possessing guns only if they are or were married to the victim, if they have lived with the victim, or if they have a child in common with the victim. Dating partners who have been convicted of domestic violence offenses are not covered, even though the most recent data shows that more domestic abuse is committed by dating partners than spouses. Closing the dating partner loophole would save lives, plain and simple. There are other steps we can take as well. These include requiring universal background checks and helping states collect and share the data necessary to ensure that those who we already agree should be prohibited under existing law are, in actual practice and fact, prohibited when they try to purchase firearms. Along these lines, I'm willing to work with anyone who wants to strengthen the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, or NICS, to ensure that it operates as Congress intended it to. Nobody on this committee has been working harder than Senators Blumenthal and Klobuchar to shine light on the role of guns in domestic violence and to address the loopholes that allow abusers to use guns to kill, injure, and threaten their victims. I know we will hear more about their initiatives, and I want to thank them both at the outset for their commitment and their efforts. I also would like to thank Chairman Leahy for his leadership in reauthorizing the Violence Against Women Act last year, and for his long-standing recognition of the role of guns in domestic violence. Finally, it bears mentioning that this is not a hearing about the Second Amendment or the right of law-abiding Americans to own firearms. Nobody on this committee wants to deprive individuals, women or men, from legally owning guns, and none of the solutions we're here to discuss involve doing that. What we are here to consider is how guns in domestic violence situations threaten American women, and how best to ensure that those who should not possess guns do not possess guns. I understand that there are a number of domestic violence survivors and advocates here with us today. I would be honored to recognize them right now if they wouldn't mind standing up. Thank you. I would also like to submit the statements of our chairman, Senator Patrick Leahy, of Christy Salters Martin, Bonnie Campbell, Laura Ponce, Katie Ray Jones, Everytown for Gun Safety, and the National Center for Victims of Crime into the record. Without objection, they will be added to the record. Thank you all for your support of this effort and for your courage. I'd like to welcome all our witnesses, thank them for participating in the hearing, and turn the microphone to my distinguished ranking member, Senator Grassley.